Having successfully seized the province of Mino and established his base in Gifu, Oda Nobunaga was on his way to a scheduled meeting with Ashikaga Yoshiaki, known as the Wandering Shogun, since he was exiled from the imperial capital, Kyoto, and was constantly on the move after being ousted by rival factions that had seized control of the city. An alliance with Yoshiaki would offer him the chance to enter Kyoto in a legitimate guise, using the reinstatement of the shogun as a rationale for his own rise. This meeting would represent the beginning of a new era, where Nobunaga would not only display his military strength, but also his ability to maneuver alliances and reshape the Japanese balance of power. The Ashikaga shogunate was founded in 1338, marking the beginning of the Muromachi period in Japan. It emerged after the collapse of the famous Kamakura shogunate. The Ashikaga regime initially managed to focus power in Kyoto and restore some stability to the country. However, its leadership was frequently challenged by internal and external conflicts. But during the Sengoku era, the shoguns gradually lost much of their authority, and Japan was split into several provinces ruled by regional daimyo in a constant struggle for power. Notwithstanding their symbolic position as Japan's military leaders, the Ashikaga shoguns became ever more dependent on the support of powerful clans. Ashikaga Yoshiaki's downfall as shogun was punctuated by political intrigue and rivalries among powerful Sengoku clans. Following the death of his predecessor, Ashikaga Yoshiteru, in 1565, Yoshiaki stepped into power in a fragile position. Yoshiteru had been murdered by the Miyoshi clan, one of the main supporters of the shogunate, but who had turned against the Ashikaga dynasty in pursuit of greater control over Kyoto. Architects of the coup against Yoshiteru were the three Miyoshi clan leaders, known as the Three Miyoshi. With the clever Matsunaga Hisahide, a sharp and ambitious strategist, they captured Kyoto and essentially sidelined the power of the shogunate. Once the coup was over, they diminished its role to that of a symbolic figure. Yoshiaki, Yoshiteru's younger brother, sought support to rebuild the Ashikaga family's authority. Without an army or strong allies, he was forced to flee Kyoto. Yoshiaki wandered between provinces for years, hunting for daimyo willing to support him. This is how he became known as the Wandering Shogun. The shogun went to Oda Nobunaga to meet an ally who could restore him to power. When they met, Nobunaga pledged to deploy his army to escort Yoshiaki back to Kyoto and wipe out his opponents. Yoshiaki, in return, would recognize Nobunaga as his main protector and ally, giving him considerable influence over the affairs of the shogun. Once Nobunaga and Yoshiaki signed an alliance, preparations for the march towards Kyoto began immediately. Nobunaga gathered his troops in Gifu, assuring that he was ready to face any resistance on the way. Escorting Yoshiaki would be a demonstration of force meant to consolidate his position as an emerging leader on the national stage. The three challenges expected included opposition from powerful clans, such as the Miyoshi clan, which still controlled parts of Kyoto and its surroundings. These rivals had significant military experience and would not yield easily. Furthermore, Nobunaga knew that he needed to secure the support of the local populations along the route, avoiding uprisings or alliances between the smaller clans and their enemies. Logistics were also critical. He carefully arranged his troops' weapons, food, and equipment supplies to ensure that nothing was left to chance. He also relied on spies to monitor his opponent's movements and anticipate ambushes. Crossing the province of Omi would not be an easy task. Nevertheless, these lands were under the control of the proud Rokkaku clan, openly opposed to the restoration of the Ashikaga shogunate. The Rokkaku had established their sway in the region for decades and did not welcome Nobunaga's rise as Yoshiaka's protector. Nobunaga knew that a confrontation was unavoidable and readied his army for a ruthless campaign against the Rokkaku. He not only made use of his military superiority, but also explored internal dissent within the rival clan, encouraging desertions and securing local allies who would facilitate the passage of his troops. His resolve to cross Omi proved his ability to combine brutal force with diplomacy, marking another step on his journey to the imperial capital. He began his military operations in 1568 by storming strategically important castles such as Kannonji and Mitsukuri. Capturing Kannonji Castle, the Rokkaku's main stronghold, was a decisive milestone. After fierce fighting and skillful military maneuvers, Nobunaga forced the Rokkaku leaders, Yoshikata and his son, Yoshiharu, to retreat into the mountains, effectively dismantling the clan's power in the region. As a result of the Rokkaku's fall, he secured control over the province of Omi, granting a safe route for his march to Kyoto, and scoring another crucial step in his rise to power. Nobunaga finally reached the imperial capital in October 1568. His move into Kyoto was nothing short of triumphant. Many local rivals, such as the remnants of the Miyoshi clan, fled or surrendered before Nobunaga's prestige and strength, avoiding a direct confrontation. This perceived absence of opposition made it easier for Nobunaga to occupy the city. Following Nobunaga's arrival, Ashikaga Yoshiaki was reinstated as shogun in a symbolically charged ceremony. However, Nobunaga made it clear that his intention was not to serve the shogun submissively, but to establish himself as an influential force behind the throne. He undertook the role of city protector and administrator, rearranging Kyoto to secure order after years of conflict. Having driven his rivals out of the region, he also turned his attention to pacifying Kyoto. He started rebuilding war-torn areas, guaranteeing the safety of trade routes, and strengthening ties with the imperial court. These actions cemented his authority and won the support of the local population, who saw him as a leader who could bring stability and prosperity. These strategic moves signaled Nobunaga's transition from a regional leader to a central figure on Japan's political scene, cementing his position as the real power behind the shogunate. During the Kyoto pacification process, Nobunaga became acquainted with an unexpected ally, Akechi Mitsuhide. Originally attached to the court of the shogun, Ashikaga Yoshiaki, Mitsuhide was noted for his diplomatic skills and insight into the imperial capital's intricate political dynamics. His loyalty to the shogun captured Nobunaga's attention, who clearly saw Mitsuhide's potential as a skilled strategist and administrator. Akechi Mitsuhide swiftly became a central figure in Nobunaga's government, shouldering important responsibilities like managing new conquered territories and negotiating with influential figures at the imperial court. He undertook a key role in consolidating Nobunaga's power in Kyoto, stabilizing the city, and securing the support of the local aristocracy. Oda Nobunaga considered Akechi Mitsuhide to be highly prized, and, as they usually rewarded their vassals for their achievements, Mitsuhide became increasingly powerful within Nobunaga's court. Little did Nobunaga know that Mitsuhide would soon have a far greater impact on his government than the leader of the Oda clan could have ever imagined.